Hello everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of susqu.edu Soccer Coaches Show. I'm your host, Anthony Hiller, and joining me today are women's soccer head coach Nick Hoover and goalkeeper Katie Henchy. Thank you guys for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
And so Coach Hoover, since we last met a couple weeks ago, your team has gone through a 4-game homestand, which you won 3 of those games. How important is it to get those wins on the board in terms of building momentum over the course of the season?
Yeah, I think last time we talked, we said, I told you I thought our team has been playing better than some of the results, but still not good enough to win, which is tough to sell to your players. Like, you want your players to feel good about how they've played, but mentally it's difficult when, there's an L on the board instead of a W, or even a draw. So to get those wins is critical for confidence just as much as it is for our record. For us, it was seeing the ball at the back of the net several times over those 2 games. Even though we generated a ton of shots, you never know. You could go 1-1 in the game like that. We've seen games like so. To go up, win those games 4-0 at home, and feel the confidence and sort of like, okay, we know that we should be winning these games in a way, but you absolutely have to. It gives you the confidence that we were looking for sure.
Do you have any thoughts?
No, I think you hit it on the head. Yeah.
And Katie, each of those 3 wins have been clean sheets. How does that reflect on you and the defenders in front of you?
Yeah, definitely the defense. They didn't give me much work to do in those 3 games, so that's something that I think we really appreciate. And, we have a really great back line, and the fact that we can play a 3-back and have the 3 of them hold it down so solid is really important. Them 3 have all had great 3 games to keep those clean sheets, so I think that reflects more on them than me, honestly.
Yeah, and during the recent homestand, you guys outscored your opponents 13-2, and how valuable was it to get the ball in the net as many times as you did?
I'll let her answer that first, because it's interesting from a goalkeeper's perspective. It's a different animal. You're not really a part of the offense as much, but how do you feel for the confidence that gives you?
Yeah, it definitely gives you a moment of like, okay, like, you have almost like a safety net behind you. Obviously, like, having that shutout is always in the back of your head. Like, no matter if it's, you have 3 goals on the board or 1, you don't want to let one in. But I definitely think just knowing that the ball's going in the back of the net after seeing how hard our offense has worked for that is what, makes me feel the best. Like, I feel for them when I see how hard they're working, and, we just are struggling to put it in the back. So seeing the ball go in the back of the net is just team chemistry, I think, is.
Yeah, I agree, and I think not just for their confidence, but we work on these things all the time in training, and if in training it's see it hit the back of the net, even though sometimes we're going like against coaching sticks that are standing up, you still want to see like those patterns be seen in a game. And while not every goal we scored comes from exactly how we drew it up in practice, if any of them do, there's like a muscle memory that kicks in because you feel confident that, okay, all these things I've been doing, all these reps I've been taking are now resulting in what we've been looking for. Because you could do everything right, and then the opposing keeper makes a great save, or you hit it over the bar, and like even though you did everything right leading up to that, there's a sense of doubt that comes in. Okay, I got to do something different next time because this didn't go in. What we really want is just do that again, and then next time it goes in. So that sort of like confidence that will be the case really only settles when the ball's in the back of the net, and I think that was huge for us. So.
And so during that time, the past 4 games, you took 111 shots to your opponent's 17. So what does that say about how your team has been creating chances better over the past?
How many shots you say?
111.
And how many goals?
13.
We probably should score more goals, is what I would say. That's me being a little critical. But I've said a million times, we need to generate chances to score goals. I think we get flustered when we take 5 shots and don't score a goal, and I'm like, well, that's why we got to take 12. And soccer's a tough sport. We go up against some good defenses, some good keepers. Like, I would say we've seen some really good goalkeeping over the last 4 games, and our opponents, not just this one here, but like who we're going up against. So to beat good goalkeeping, to beat good team defense, sometimes you need extra shots. So, but I'll let you address like the shots faced, because it's been a lot less lately.
Yeah, it's definitely been a lot less. Again, I think that just reflects the most on the defense, honestly. Like, being able to, it's how it always is, being able to walk into a game and knowing that you have like a strong defense behind you, not just the 3, but the wing backs and the 2 holding midfielders who have been really good at tracking back defensively. Like, having the confidence of knowing, like, there's people on the field that have their back, and then when it's my job to have their back, I can do that. So, yeah.
I would say some of that's mine too. Like, first couple of games, we knew we were going up against some really tough competition, and we sort of were still discovering what we were capable of doing with the shape and how we pressured. So I was keeping our team, and as a coaching staff, we talked about it a lot. Like, okay, we got to be a little smarter about where we pressure. And we still are smart, I think, about how we do it, but we're applying way more pressure up the field. And there's really two reasons we feel like we're able to do that. A, we feel like our defense is really starting to round out not just the three in the back, but sort of how our wing backs are covering and pressing, and how our midfielders are starting to get a little more cohesion in the middle. But the key was, and I'm going to talk about you here, how well she played in those first 3 games, even though we lost them, to keep us in it. Those games that could have been well beyond those score lines. It gives your team confidence and gives you confidence that, okay, like, if for some reason this pressing system doesn't work, we have this incredible opportunity to either she comes off her line and gets the ball because of how quick she is, or if we get put in a situation where she has to make a save, we've just seen her make a dozen saves. So instead of letting them come to us, let's go meet them at midfield, let's go meet them in their third. So it helps having a goalkeeper that has been playing really well, even in losses, to allow you to do that. Because a lot of teams, when they're losing games and getting outshot, they're not going to go pressure the other team. And I think what we discovered was, as a staff, if we're going to get shots played on us when we're sinking in, we might as well get shots on us when we go pressure. And if she wasn't playing as well as she was, despite the losses, I don't know if we do that. So.
All right, so, and on that note, Katie, you're currently second in the landmark in saves. You made 35 this season. How do you feel your game's developed from last year to this year?
I think, like, a comfortability level. I think last year, like, obviously coming in and being a freshman, like, especially my first couple games, like, there's a lot of nerves there and a lot of, like, trying to figure out the college game. I think there's a lot more work to do, obviously, but yeah, I definitely think just like in how I'm able to communicate, like my chemistry with the back line, just knowing what I think everybody's going to be doing, and yeah, like I think it's just a little bit of a bump up in confidence because nothing's really as new anymore as it was last year.
All right, so additionally, you're now the older of the 2 goalkeepers on the roster. How has your role changed kind of off the field and with that in mind?
Yeah, I definitely think that last year there was a lot of great leadership, and that's kind of what let me kind of get comfortable, like as quick as I did. And I think coming in this year, like being someone who had started and played almost every game last year, I just wanted to be that for the people, not only the freshmen, but like even our girls that hadn't played as much last year, and it was now their chance to step up. So I think it was more of like, I saw people do that for me last year, and you know, I wanted to come in and be able to, you know, be like a leadership role and someone who could do the same thing for the new kids coming in.
Just as a coach, it's critical for your goalkeeper to be as vocal as Katie's been, and you know, we say experience, but I've had to remind her several times, she's still very much scratching the surface of her college career. She's a year and a month into her college career, and there's so much ways to go, but the level of maturity, the level of intensity, the level of kind of like wanting to you know, make sure that she does everything correct, it can be detrimental at times, but I think it's still really important for our team, because you don't need a keeper to be the most like loud and bombastic person on the team, but they can't be just a passenger either. And I think what she's done really well, even in her sophomore year, is really take the steps towards being that like big leader on the team, even as a sophomore. And I think that's been really helpful for us as well.
All right, so the last game, 4-0 win over Muhlenberg. How do you think the game went in terms of how you executed on the game plan and how it panned out?
You know, we were talking about it right before we started filming. Obviously, we come right out, score a goal pretty early in the game. I thought we were all over them right from the start. So we score a goal, and then there's an injury, and there's like a 5-minute break. And I do think that had something to do with it. But there's something about the first time this season we were up a goal against a team that we knew was going to be a tough team, and that was going to be a tough lead to hold, that I think we started getting away from what we were doing that got us that lead. And that's something we haven't experienced. Even though we're 7 games into our season, plus 2 scrimmages, we really hadn't been through that before. A lot of games we've been behind, or we've been up, but just completely dominating the game. So there wasn't this situation yet to go through. And so last night we had to go through it, and there were definitely some bumps in the road going through that situation last night. And you know, we escaped the half 1-0. And I do say escape because I do think the most dangerous they were in the entire 90 minutes was those 20 minutes before halftime ended. And so halftime we talked, and our assistant coaches had some really good points to bring up, and the players on the team had some points to bring up. But the thing we really wanted to hit home was, let's not get away from what we were doing that got us the lead. And we made basically 2 changes. We kind of had our wing backs pitch back a little bit, and then we basically avoided the midfield defeat early. And all of a sudden you're up, you know, 2-0 within 10, and you're up 3-0 within 15. And it's not just because we made those changes, it's because we executed on those goals. but generating those chances and essentially ending the game is what it felt like. Not that they couldn't have come back and they competed and they're a good team, but like the game felt like it was over, and it felt like we did that. It didn't just happen, and that's another seminal moment. That's a thing we got to catalog and take with us, because it was a change of attitude, it was a change of intensity, and it was 2 tactical changes, nothing wholesale. And I thought the team did an unbelievable job coming out and feeling that. But once again, scoring that goal is like, okay, we put the labor in, we did what we were supposed to do, there's the goal. Kind of went exactly as we could have hoped for in the second half, and I think you faced 1 shot the entire second half. So it wasn't just that we were a better team. I think we learned a lesson and applied it, and that's a critical moment for a team going through some a little bit of an upward swing like we're going through right now. So,
All right, so landmark play coming up next weekend. What's the value of having those good performances in the last couple of weeks leading up to that landmark opener?
I'm gonna take this one.
I mean, yeah, we have a big opener. We're playing Scranton. But I definitely think that the way that we are before conference like games were structured was nice. Like we had the first 3, which were hard games, and like we didn't get the result we needed. But I think those 3 games were honestly much more beneficial to us than maybe the 3 games that we won. Just because if you watch the film from the Misericordia game compared to the film from last night, it's almost a different team. It's kind of crazy to see how much we've grown in a month, and that's just attributed to the amount of like effort and work that all the girls have put in the last month. Like it's actually kind of crazy how much we've grown as a team and grown together. So I'm just excited to see what this looks like once we hit conference, honestly.
Yeah, and that's going to be the big message of practice today is, conference is happening soon, and the opponent we're playing is obviously the best team in our conference for several years running. But we got a game Saturday, and we got to practice today. And we just have to keep our minds there, because every game we play, no matter the opponent, is a preparation for the next game you play and the next practice you make. So things we do at practice today will be based upon things we did well and need to work on from last night. And that kind of build-up generally gradually gets you to conference season. And I don't hide from our team that conference is what we're really after. We want to be at our best, September 27th when we play. Whether we open up a Scranton or anybody else, like when you enter conference season, we want to know who we are and what we do well, what we still need to work on, and then that's a good thing. But that doesn't just appear. We can't fast forward to the 27th. We got critical practices and games coming up, so it's great to know they're coming. It's great to know who we're playing, and I think we're preparing ourselves about as well as we can.
Looking ahead to the more upcoming future against Marymount this weekend, how are you expecting to build on the successes, and how far you have come in the past couple of weeks?
It's a new team. We can't just think we're going to go out and play them exactly the same way, but I don't think we should change a lot of what we do either. So it's kind of finding that nuance. You don't want to get away from what's been successful, but you also have to know it's a different kind of opponent. So we'll watch the film. We'll make sure we're as prepared as we can. We won't probably change a lot, but we'll change little things, and it's getting the team to buy into the little changes more than the big ones, because the big changes have kind of happened over 6 weeks or however many weeks it's been. So we want to continue that going. They're solid. They've won some good games, had some really good results against some really good opponents, and it's a tough road trip. It's a 3-hour drive on a Saturday, and we're leaving early, and we're playing at 1. It's a different surface. I think their field's pretty small from what I remember. So we'll have to prepare as best we can, but I just think we need to absorb as much confidence as we got from this most recent result without, relying on the fact that we won, so we're fine. Like there's a balance there that I think, players on the team are going to have to absorb and go with.
All right, so to wrap things up, what are your favorite moments, of the season thus far?
We'll definitely let you answer that.
My favorite moments, Sid's goal last night was pretty cool. Like I know obviously we were already up 3-0, but for her to put it in the back of the net with a second left, I feel like was something that kind of just shows the kind of team that we've been. Like that, the goal we scored against the Sales, even though we lost, like we were down 2-0, and it would have been really easy for everyone to kind of just, be like, well, this game's over. And, to put a ball on the back of the net, and then for Sid to score that one with the 2 seconds left, that just kind of shows, I think, the kind of team we are. And I think our chemistry is what makes us the kind of team that we are. Like everybody is genuinely very close on and off the field. So I think honestly my favorite part of the year this year has just been seeing that grow, and the amount of effort that we watch people put in and day out, like seeing that pay off for everybody is what makes me the most happy to be here.
Yeah, I echo that. I mean, I think this is as tight-knit a team as we've ever had. I think we're as deep as we've ever been. There's been a ton of people who have played minutes this year for us, which is, not the most unlikely thing, but it's more players have played major minutes for us this year than we've ever had. And some of that is through necessity, and some of that's through one of our strengths. And that only works if you're ready to go. You can say, oh, we have 5 or 6 players who haven't played in a week. Let's just throw them in because they're talented. But if they haven't been working hard and they haven't been engaged and they don't have the confidence of their teammates, then it doesn't work. And those things only happen when you have a very culturally strong team, which I think we do. So there's at any given moment where a player is going to be called on for a critical 10 minutes. They have you ready to go, and I think what Katie mentioned, how close and hardworking this team has been, is what allows for that name to be called, with 5 minutes to go in the first half, that we got to close out and not give up a goal, or can we get a spark of offense? All of a sudden you see it, and that's just not something that happens if we're not all bought in, and that's what I think has been really special. So,
All right, well, that's all I got. So fans, thanks for joining us today, and be sure to tune in again. Keep an eye out for more on SURiverhawks.com and at GoSusQ on social media. That's all for now from myself, Anthony Hiller, and Susquehanna Women's Soccer head coach Nick Hoover and goalkeeper Katie Henchy. See you soon.